Testing. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. Hi, I'm Black Ratchet. We're going to talk about Ghetto IDS and Honeypots for the home user, which, ghetto is just sort of a term I decided to really toss in there because it's not anything professional. We're not going to be deploying top layer on our homeland, but anyway. I like this. This is my favorite XKCD comic. It's printed out on my cube at work. And I just love to have this where they have all a giant virtual LAN of Windows machines, and you can tell them how they get infected. And it's a lot of very Hollywood, but yeah, it's never going to happen. And technically, I can't tell you how to do it here. So let's go move on. What are we going to talk about? What exactly happens on the end of your internet connection? Open source tools that will set up your own honeypot and IDS and tie them together so you can actually tell what the heck's going on. And what you will likely see and what it means and how to respond. Who am I? Just another phone freak from Boston. I talked at Hope No. 6, DEF CON, and other conferences. I've been using these tools since about 2002 or so. First time I got exposed to them was a Capture the Flag contest, so they are battle tested. GCIA, so obviously these letters mean that I know more than all of you. Really nice guy who will talk your ear off these things if you donate alcoholic beverages to him. Why am I using PowerPoint? You saw that I was using PowerPoint last year, 2 years ago at the last Hope. I decided to be cool, use Linux, use OpenOffice, open source, it's wonderful. Plug it in right before my presentation. Wouldn't actually work with the projector. So I didn't want to expose you to that again, so I bit the bullet and decided to use Windows. Anyway, let's actually get to the meat of the subject. This is your internet connection. This is what everyone thinks it is. Information superhighway, got all these little flags down here showing all the different countries you can get to. And, you got your highway, and it's fast, it's wonderful, no one's on it, you're going to go scream through and get to all these faraway places. This is what your reality is. Do you realize how hard it is to go search or on Google Images for riot pictures? There's none. There's like 3 of them, and they just keep on showing up. But I found this on Flickr. No, Creative Commons, no attribution, so I used it. We want to actually trap these people trying to smash into our information superhighway internet blog. So they're actually going to use honeypots. Now, what exactly is a honeypot? Honeypot is a system that, while you're actually trying to convince the attacker it's this high value, full of chock, wonderful information, social security numbers, credit card numbers, all kinds of wonderful things. It's a horribly secure device, but in reality, it's something that you are watching like a hawk and monitoring every move that they try to make. The first time that I actually really ever ran into this, and I think it's the first time, at least I've seen it referenced a couple of times as the first real honeypot, was an evening with Burford with Bill Cheswick and about 3 other authors. He was the AT&T internet connection managed the internet connection back in 1991, and he got attacked. And he set up on his real system, he set up a fake system so this attacker could log in, and they traced him all the way back down to, I don't know, Norway, Netherlands, somewhere along there. Really fun story. It's publicly available on the internet, and also it's part of his practical firewalls. I believe that's what it's called. There are 2 main types of honeypots, high interaction and low interaction. High interaction is what you probably are all expecting a honeypot to be, a real actual system that you're plugging in and plugging out on the internet, be it physical or virtualized. And now the issue with a high interaction honeypot with a real computer plugged into your internet connection, obviously it's going to get hacked because, if it doesn't get hacked, please tell me who your ISP is. And it's with a real computer getting hacked, you're actually going to run into real threats and more problems, because when this person actually attempts to attack your computer and compromises it, he's actually going to probably do something bad with it that you don't want to happen on your internet connection. You want to be in charge of that. The other type of honeypot is a low interaction honeypot. There are 2 main ones that are in use today. One's called Nepenthes, and I'm probably mispronouncing that because it's some, Nepenthes, okay, thank you. I'm going to have to tell all my coworkers that. Or another thing called HoneyD. What it is it provides an attacker with what I call a movie set computer. You think you look at all these movie lots in Hollywood and wherever, and it's, Main Street, USA, or it's, some French village, and you look at it and it looks great from the front, but if you actually peer around behind, it's actually nothing behind it. And actually, another thing that I came up with while I was listening to a presentation, it's sort of like one of those non-player characters from like Final Fantasy I, where if you say 2 or 3 things to them, that's about it. I'm looking for my pet dog. It's a fake computer. It's not actually going to get compromised, or hopefully not. Therefore, it's less threats and less problems. You're not actually going to be hosting all these horrible, mean, nasty, ugly things and attacking other computers. High interaction honeypots. You really don't want to be running these. You can if you want to. I'm not going to tell you can't, but it's a lot of headaches, and you have to be on top of it at all times. You can basically use a real computer or a physical virtual computer with actual vulnerabilities, be it VM. You can run it on top of VMware, you can run it on top of Zen, user mode Linux, or if you want, just find your old Pentium 266 and toss that on your internet connection there. Like I said, real problems. Attackers can and will use your honeypot to attack other systems, because normally what you see someone coming in, breaking into your computer, dropping his little, botnet client, DDoS client, something else, and then giving it commands to scan for other computers, be it honeypots or not. There's a program out there called Snort Inline, which uses IP, FW, IP tables, and all that stuff, and Snort to see, okay, I have outbound traffic. Okay, is it bad? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to send it. Is it not bad? No. Okay, I can send it. What that'll allow the attacker to do is, grab his toolkit, do whatever he actually wants to your box, but not actually go out to the internet and attack other boxes. It will protect you. However, it is Snort. It's signature-based. It's not going to, unless you keep really on top of it with all your latest IDS definitions, you are going to, you might have something that sneaks through. You always need to keep on top of it. And as they always say, lots of risk, but lots of reward. Because with an actual computer, with people downloading stuff to it and attacking other systems, you are going to get the best picture available of what these people are doing to computers out on the internet. And you can do them, if you want to do research into that, this is exactly what you want to do. Low interaction honeypots, like I said, they're a fake computer. It's either a spoof device or a physical or a virtual device that spoofs vulnerabilities. Very much less of an attack profile. It's not actually a real computer, and so it's only kind of faking a real computer with fake vulnerabilities on it. Less of a threat. However, you're really going to start running into issues when they start attacking it and trying to get predicted responses off it. And if they start seeing, hey, this is not exactly responding the way I expect it to, they're either going to think it's a busted system and they're not going to attack it anymore, or they're going to start, looking at it closer and they're going to find out, jigs up. Not as realistic as high interaction, like I said, but it will save you many a headaches. If I was actually running a high interaction honeypot off my internet connection, I have to probably, re-wipe it and reinstall it every week at least. It will save you many a headache from doing that with a low interaction honeypot, because you won't have to be doing that, because hopefully will never get compromised. So let's talk about high interaction honeypots, because I think this slide's actually out of a thing. How high interaction honeypots works. We have our evil attacker, and you can tell he's evil because he's wearing an eye patch. And he is attacking the honeypot server. Now the honeypot server is a real computer, and he's going to compromise it and do evil things to it. But what he doesn't know, and he hopefully won't find out, is that it's actually relaying everything he's doing over to a monitoring server. Now, this monitoring server can be doing, it can be running Snort, it can be running an IDS, it can be running, all kinds of things that will sniff packets and track them. However, if, for example, he sets up Secure Shell and he starts running encryption, that's going to really start to become an issue, because you won't be able to see exactly what he's doing unless you start doing forensics on the box. There is a program out there called SEBEK, S-E-B-E-K. I completely forget where the website is. What it will allow you to do is it will allow you to monitor, it'll allow you to see exactly what he's doing at the console and replay it back as if you're staring at it, which is what Dudley Do Right is doing. Setup. Your two main choices are Linux and Windows, because 90% of what people are going to compromise are these two operating systems. Linux, you'll see a lot more, technically Windows, you'll see a lot more automated things like, Slammer, Sasser, all these little viruses you've seen over the past 6 years, but people haven't been patching their systems, so they're still out there. Linux, you'll start running into more of botnet clients, which you will see on Windows, but to a lesser extent automated-wise. A lot of the botnet clients for Windows are client-side attacks. Aunt Mary goes to some random website, which is then compromised, and they download it onto her system. Linux, you're seeing a lot of stuff where people are running automated scripts to put their botnet clients directly on the computer via a vulnerability of some sort, and then just compromising like that and then forgetting about it. Hardware-wise, nowadays, I mean, I guess, back in the days, you'd be, they want to have more and more hardware, more and more hard processing cycles. You really don't see that nowadays. Bandwidth, that's the only thing they're interested in. If they can have, a nice fat pipe to download their, wares, porn, and MP3s, they're going to be happy. But sometimes you just don't even see that. Virtualization. Everyone says, oh, okay, I'll be cool. I'll run virtualization. I'll be able to have my honeypot, and I'll be able to keep my real server on at the same time without having to do any kind of, technical tomfoolery with my firewall rules. Yeah, you don't want to do that. I've heard that, 2 or 3 times, so I'm just going to toss it out here. You're never going to be 100% sure that there's not going to be something in the hypervisor that they're going to be able to see. They're going to break out. They're going to, compromise your entire box. You're never going to be 100% sure they're not going to notice. VMware, for example, is very easy to detect if you're running on top of it. User mode Linux, there's a couple of patches that will allow you to jail it and cheroot it. That will save you on the breakout side, but there are ways to tell that you're running within a virtualized system. And you hear people about running this on their local homeland, on their local server with all their important documents. Don't. Bad. With high interaction honeypot, stopping attacks, like I said, you need to monitor it like a hawk. You need to do it 24/7, and as soon as you have it, you're compromised, you need to make sure of, you have the ability to be there to physically unplug that system and, disconnect from the internet so you're not attacking anybody. The hard part with this is actually making a determination of when the attacker is done. A lot of times it's easy when you're actually just dealing with someone who's, spraying and praying exploits, trying to scanning entire net block, hoping he'll net 1 or 2 boxes. Sometimes, although rarely, you'll actually run to someone where it'll be a physical human on the other side of the keyboard, where you're never exactly sure when he's done. Is he done putting his stuff up there? Is he going to come back later? Do we want to keep this box up and running? It's going to be a judgment call, and I don't want to make that judgment call because, quite frankly, I don't want my system ever touching someone else's system where I get sued. You need to pull the plug immediately. Like I said, no, really now. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll give it another week or so, and what they're not knowing is they're not watching it close enough, and they're not realizing that they're scanning, half of China, which is bad. Like I said, snort-based utility that uses IP tables or IPFW to drop malicious packets, not 100% effective, like I said, signatures. Low interaction honeypots. Now, I enjoy this picture because it's exactly what we want to present to the attacker. Look at that, it's a wonderful pool, there's waterfalls, it's going, come right in, and what in reality you don't really realize is that it's a chalk drawing. Anything below the stairs is all chalk. 3 low interaction honeypots. Nepenthes. Emulates fake vulnerabilities on a physical computer to collect exploits. It runs basically it binds to a bunch of ports where, Samba or Windows file sharings, or I think it also does Apache. We can get into more of that later. The second one is HoneyD. What HoneyD more or less does is it emulates fake computers on your network in which you can, send scanned responses. This is more or less exactly what the NPC analogy is. There's another utility out there called Honeytrap. What Honeytrap does is it waits for anything to connect to your computer, binds a port to that, and then just tries to capture whatever is sent to it. Nepenthes, you need a physical computer to set it up. Like I said, it'll bind to a bunch of ports. It'll, I think it does FTP, Samba, Apache. It emulates a ton of exploits. Or exploitable services. So when you see someone running an automated exploit, it says, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm attackable. Please attack me." And what it then does is it waits for the person to send whatever they're going to do, and